Bing bong.
This is the iDanSimpson Show.
We do it because it's right.
I love the dialectic.
His testicles became swollen.
Based.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Please clap.
Who's this man? This man in the hat. I'm gonna ruin this.
You're a stupid baby down, not me.
Awesome. There it is. Great. Off to a great start. Nasai, welcome to the show. How are you doing today? Tell us about your day.
I'm doing great. Just taking a little break from work right now. Nice little change of pace. So glad to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, and thank you for being here, and thank you for your patience. I did totally space because I forgot to put this on my calendar, but I'm really excited to be with you. So Nasai, I think best thing for us to do is go ahead and take a moment and introduce you to our audience. Let them know a little bit about you, as much as or as little as you like. Tell them about your projects, and then of course throughout the stream, you're welcome to monologue about anything you like. That's sort of the spirit around here. So feel free to let folks know about you, and then we'll go from there.
I'm Nasai, and I'm very boring. I'm just kidding. No, I'm a software developer, self-taught. Have been for a while. I've been doing that for 10 years, so I'm one of them tech bros ruining everything for everyone.
Cool. Self-taught software dev. Is that like what keeps you busy full time these days?
Yeah.
Cool. What kind of stuff do you work on? Projects? I don't know. Like how can I wrap my head around like what you do? Yeah.
So I've been all over the map through my career. Right now I'm working on a financial tech startup. It's actually a mortgage brokerage. So that's fun to be a communist working for a mortgage company.
You do call yourself a communist though?
Yes. Yeah, I'm a communist for sure.
All right, now you're on a list.
Yep. Sorry, man. Sorry for me, I guess.
Yeah, sorry for you. You said it. No, that's totally up my alley. I'm into the communisms because I don't really enjoy being exploited. You know what I mean? That's really annoying.
Yeah. It's not fun.
Not fun.
Being exploited.
So you describe yourself as a communist. Let's take a couple moments and talk about that journey a little bit. Help us to understand how one becomes a communist, or tell us about your journey. Like, what were, I don't know. Like, how do you get to where you are? Because everyone's got their pathway. And feel free to tell us about any big things along the way. What made you a communist?
Well, I was actually raised conservative, so that's fun. My parents are conservative. They're still conservative.
Yeah.
So I was conservative up until about 18. Did go to college for a short while, and around that time I became pretty libertarian.
Okay.
This was, I'll date myself here, but my first election was Obama's. So
okay.
I became libertarian around the first Obama term, shifted a little more liberal around the second term, but I still didn't really like Obama.
Okay.
And then, Bernie came along.
Because you were like more libertarian, you weren't feeling the lib energy.
Still a little libertarian. In fact, I probably kind of skipped over liberal now that I think about it and look back. I went from libertarian to sock dem essentially when Bernie came around in
Good for
2016.
Probably for the
best. Yeah. So I socked dem for, through the Trump era, and then, this last election cycle, paid very close attention to the primaries. Probably way more attention than is healthy. And that pretty much radicalized me into full-on anti-capitalist. which I think is a
which part
pretty-
radicalized you? You became a SOCDEM. You were SOCDEM through Trump. It's just like seeing what kinds of things.
seeing the way the machine works in terms of our electoral system, and essentially it was very much losing faith in the electoral process for me. Just seeing how far they would go just to stop Bernie, So it's just arguably a social democrat, not even a socialist. So it's like they won't even give us those concessions. So stuff that the overwhelming majority of the country wants. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but 80% of the country wants Medicare for all, and they won't do it. They absolutely refuse to do it. So it's like, how do we do this electoral politics thing anymore?
Yeah, Dr. Buenabuen saying they crafted Democratic Voltron to stop Bernie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I personally identify with a lot of what you just said. I sympathize with that. I feel similarly. I think having seen what they did to Bernie, if I could just make it like that, just say it short like that, what they did to prevent him from winning, considering he's not even that far left. That for me, I think, pierced the veil, and it made me go, okay, well, like, where else have they done it? And the answer is all over the world. At every opportunity, they never miss an opportunity to try to like fuck with leftists. And I'm like, okay, this has been a really revealing for me, my stream, like past 9 months, especially. Just like, holy shit. It's just like, once you sort of poke a little hole into that, it just starts flowing out. And it's been incredible. So Nasai, you're known to folks. I would guess for just hanging out and being based in lefty chats like my own, and you've been really helpful for me. I think as I've been exploring geopolitics and stuff, trying to figure out Ukraine, especially, you've been helpful. And I just thought to myself, Nasai's really cool. Let's get them in here. Let's have a chat. And thank you again for being with me today. I really appreciate that. Do you want to tell anyone, just want to make sure we give you an opportunity here. We've mentioned a little bit about your pathway to becoming a communist. Did we skip anything? Did we leave anything out there that you wanted to mention? Because I want to, yep, go ahead.
Not really. No, I mean.
Okay. So, like, let's circle back then and ask, like, are there any, like, leftist projects that you're involved in, or, I don't know, even shows or podcasts or whatever that you're really into, that you'd want to chat with us about today?
I mean, I like listening to a couple of podcasts. My favorites are the Antifada and Chapo Trap House.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm on the Antifada stream on pretty much a weekly basis for Europa Universalis streams. Those are fun.
Say that part again. You're on the stream?
Yeah, we do a video game stream weekly, Sean and I.
Oh, shit. I didn't even know this. That's really cool.
Yeah, you should jump in sometime and watch us do imperialisms in a video game.
I know. You're like you're doing like imperialist propaganda. You're sorry. I can't use words right now. My brain is failing me. Just please start talking so I can stop.
Well, it's actually pretty funny because we role play it, and we always are acting like we're communists in like the 15th century. So that's
fun.
As best as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that started with Sean's been streaming Europa Universalis for a long time, and I was watching him, and I was also a player. And so, I was in his chat, just very much like I'm in your chat, but for the video game. And then he decided, hey, why don't you just come on to Discord? Because we were still learning the game together, and I was kind of helping him with some of the moves he was making. It's a strategy game, so
it looks really elaborate.
It's the most elaborate strategy game I've ever played. So
shit.
It's pretty insane. You can play that game for years and still learn new things about it.
Cool.
Yeah. So these days we're doing multiplayer. Instead of me backseating and helping Sean with his campaigns, it's Sean, myself, and $27, friend of the show. We're doing multiplayer, and that's been real fun.
That's cool. Awesome. You mentioned Antifada. You mentioned Chapo Trap House. Every time I listen to Chapo Trap House, I think it's really funny. I think they're really funny people. I gotta watch more.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Because I want to be funny too. I want to get on their level. I think the game is called Euro Universalis. Is that the name of it?
Europa Universalis.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
it's a fun one.
I remember raiding out to watch Sean play that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we get to ask, like, what do you want to talk about? Like, what's on your mind? And again, I'm really sorry that we started a little bit late. You can stay for as long as you like, or if you have to pop out at the top of the hour, just let me know. I really apologize for that. But let's just launch into just like anything. Like, what's been on your mind in terms of like the news? Maybe you've been watching me stream stuff that you're especially into. What do we want to talk about today? What's on your mind?
Well, first off, no worries about being late. I actually didn't want to interrupt your space time. That was fun because I also love that stuff.
Yeah.
Lately, I mean, we could talk about Ukraine, but I don't really want to talk about Ukraine.
No. Why not?
Unless you want to talk about Ukraine.
No,
I don't know.
let's just vibe here. Like, yeah, what's on your, like, why don't you want to talk about Ukraine?
Well,
not to make this into a thing, but yeah.
Same position as you. NATO bad, Russia bad. It's a shitload of fog of war. So what can we actually know about what's actually happening there? The history of it is, that's the thing we know most about is the history of the United States involvement with Ukraine for the last decade, which is pretty crazy. Did you ever watch that or listen to that podcast that I sent you a while back, the Jennifer Briney deep dive on World Bank and the IMF and how that relates to Ukraine?
No, but I think that's definitely information I need to thread. We're talking like Bretton Woods type stuff.
Yeah, it's like the skinny of it is like we were trying to bring Ukraine into, we're trying to give them IMF loans, and we were trying to, have them, there's strings attached to those loans. Yeah. And, in terms of privatizing industries and, making deals for our own domestic U.S. corporations, and essentially trying to use the financial system to bring Ukraine closer to the West and all of that. And then, we essentially did a coup in their country in 2014, and, Putin wasn't happy with that. And here we are.
Here we are.
The U.S., obviously, yes, Putin pulled the trigger, but the U.S. has been daring him to pull that trigger for a decade. And, there's no sane analysis of the present state of Ukraine that doesn't bring, attempts to hold the U.S. accountable for its role in all of it, and NATO for that matter. So that's how I feel about Ukraine.
Well, I think I feel similarly. Getting to this point where, like, if there's any more like context for me to add to this, my understanding of what's happening here, I've got to like watch a 2-hour video or read a goddamn book in order to like continue adding on to my understanding here. Not to make me the understander here, but that's just sort of where I'm at, and I'm sort of, I don't know, I'm sort of maybe at the same point as you. I'm like, I don't have anything to add at this point to my own understanding or I don't know, like my chat or whatever. I feel like we're all on the same page here. So like I am exhausted. At the same time, it's like, we're just hearing the same arguments from it just seems like the same reflexive shit. If I have someone in chat that hasn't been watching me, they're like, wait, you're on this side of the argument? I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't mean I'm on Russia's side of the war. And that's of course really hard for certain people who seem very unwilling to understand that point. Okay. So we're saying fuck Ukraine and we're saying fuck the EU, just like Victoria Nuland. What else is on your mind? What else is on your mind?
Well,
yeah.
Today, I mean, got me thinking about the space stuff. I mean, how familiar?
Yeah.
So we can just continue along the adventure that you were doing when I got on here and talk about space.
You want to have a sci-fi adventure? Can you be my Rick and I'll be your Morty?
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. So if anyone's like watching this video, maybe out of context, or if you just joined us in today, welcome. We were having a sci-fi adventure stream before you all came in. We were talking some real nerd shit. Isn't that right?
Yep,
we were talking
best kind of shit.
The best kind of shit. We were talking Carl Sagan, the golden record that they slapped on the side of Voyager. That's shooting out there. We talked about how our moon was formed. Hey, not to put you on the spot, do you smoke weed, man?
I don't, man.
Okay, well then I'm not gonna, yeah.
Theoretically, I think I might be allergic to THC. I haven't tried it in a while.
Okay, I was wondering if we were going to partake together. That's okay.
Just
anyways.
nicotine for me.
All right. So, and we were talking Carl Sagan, brought up the pale blue dot, the whole thing. So what do you think? Space.
Well,
final
are
frontier.
you familiar with the Fermi Paradox? I mean, you are now with that last video
Right.
we just watched with at least one answer to it. I actually briefly mentioned this in chat earlier, but I have a personal crackpot theory relating to the Fermi Paradox.
Let's go.
Yeah. I think civilizations essentially have to become socialists in order to survive long enough to become, a type 2 civilization and go beyond their solar system. It's, and once you become an intelligent species and civilize, if you're on an exponential growth model and you're not able to escape your finite resources on your planet, obviously that growth is unsustainable. So what is the way that you can become sustainable and not destroy yourself by the time you can actually get out of your solar system? The only way we know of is to become socialist. So it's very possible. So I don't like the answers to the Fermi paradox that are, shall we say, xenophobic. That I mean, that's actually the literal term for it, even in like space.
Yeah.
Those answers to the Fermi paradox, which posit that there would be interstellar warfare and stuff like that, and a lot of other people made some good points in chat. Like it would just not be viable to do space warfare if you can't travel faster than light. But I mean, just sociologically speaking, if you're able to survive to get to that point, your civilization is probably no longer imperialist because you've gotten past that point in your social development. So, I mean, that's one of my responses to those sort of philosophical questions.
Okay, so I'm hearing we need to become internationally socialist, and also we need to learn how to go faster than the speed of light. And learn not to be xenophobic.
If you want to do space warfare, you should probably be going faster than the speed of light. But you don't have to go faster than the speed of light to, go beyond our solar system necessarily.
I'm not really into space warfare. It doesn't work out in the movies.
Unless it's in a video game. Then it's fun.
Even the video, it's fun. It's fun to do it first person. We're talking Halo.
Actually, I was thinking Stellaris. It's a related game to Europa Universalis, which I also play. It's made by the same company, and it's the same genre.
Let me pull that up so people know what we're talking about. The first one, the Europa Universalis. It's up to 6. Is that the one that you're playing?
No, it should be up to 4.
It's up to 4. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to read.
Backwards.
Gosh darn it! Don't make fun of me. All right, this is it. With sound, and then I want to see the other one. Dominate the globe. I'm on the wrong scene. There you are. All right. It's like Catan on acid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they sold a lot of units.
A lot of units. Proud of those units.
Is that like actual gameplay?
Kind of. I mean, it's
Kinda.
camera angles are different, but
Oh, okay. They've spiced it up. Am I tripping? I didn't get a good look. Is it like the actual like shape of the world? You know what I'm trying to say? Is it?
it's a full map of the world. It's
Okay,
no,
so-
and it's flat. It's actually a great game for learning geography and a bit
Yeah.
of history. The game spans from 1444 to 1821, so you essentially get to. I mean, the game doesn't explicitly call this out, but essentially the period of time when capitalism was being developed, and you
Oh,
basically experience the history of the world. I mean, it becomes alternate history because as the game plays out, I mean, you're playing as a country and you're taking it along a path that it probably did not take. If you're good at the game, you're going to expand much more than the country actually did. But there's a lot of events that happen in the game that actually happen in real life. So it's a good way to learn a bit of history and a great way to learn geography, actually.
that is cool.
When you're,
Sorry.
because they try to keep it as accurate as possible. So it's more than like if you've ever played the Civilization games, those are little childish versions of
Baby,
European
dumbed down. Yeah, okay. I
training
sort of see
wheels.
that. Yeah. All right, and here's Stellaris. Oh, games are cool.
This is no single mission,
Cool.
but a call to the
looks
cosmos, to a galaxy in constant motion. There are always more stars to discover, more civilizations to encounter. More worlds to explore. It's a vast
This'll teach you
galaxy
space
full
geography.
of wonders. Political tension,
That's right.
diplomacy, betrayal, and deceit. And it is yours for the taking.
Well, the music's doing a lot, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, pretty good
Yeah.
music in that game.
Okay. Stellaris. Was that the... Were we like looking at gameplay there? You just never know.
Again, it's
Sorry.
like different camera angles than actually
Okay.
happen in game, but that was mostly cinematic.
Okay. You play that game a lot too?
Yep.
Nice. So you've been gaming, you're hanging out with Sean on the Antifada stream. You're based, you're leftist, you're communist. Fucking Ukraine's fucking annoying us. I don't know what else, where else do we want to go from here? I'm going to take questions from chat.
Yeah, let's get some
but
questions from chat.
we were going back down the space rabbit hole, right?
Chat is also going down the space rabbit hole.
Where do we want to
We're
go
talking
from
about
here?
A whole lot of nerd shit.
What questions about space do we have for Nasai? I'm caught a little off guard, but that's okay. We're doing it live. That's just what we do here. We talked a little bit about the Fermi
Neither
Paradox.
Dan nor I set an agenda for this.
No, we really we're off the cuff here. It's all right. This is what we do. The Fermi Paradox, I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. For me, it's just like The question is, why don't we see him? Like, why haven't we seen him? Is that's the paradox, or the paradox is like what we do when we meet him? I haven't even get that far. I don't think we'll ever see him.
So there's two related things. There's the Drake equation, and then there's the Fermi paradox. The Drake equation is an attempt to calculate an expected quantity of intelligent civilizations in the galaxy.
Right. And that's called what?
The Drake equation.
Drake, right.
So, it takes the number of stars, it takes a fraction of those stars. It's a repeating series of multipliers. So it's a fractions removing, starting with the quantity of stars. So start with the quantity of stars, multiply that by the fraction of them that have planets, multiply that by the fraction of planets which are expected to be habitable, multiply that by the ones that are expected to actually support life, so on and so forth. And you can cut that number down with these fractions so much, but you still end up with a massive number. And so looking at it with the best, statistical expectations we can have, there's supposed to be a shitload of civilizations in the galaxy. So the Fermi paradox is, okay, understanding that, why don't we see them? And there's a whole bunch of answers to the paradox.
They're too fun. It's just like space is so fucking big. We like also light takes certain time to travel.
Those those interplay into several of the possible answers. So the Fermi paradox itself, there's like 20 or so generally proposed and accepted possible answers. The Kyrgyzstan video we watched is essentially one of them, which is everyone is listening, but nobody is broadcasting.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the space isolationism response to it. A couple of the others is we're actually very early. The age of the universe is 13.8 billion years old. The age of our solar system is 4.5 billion years old, which is actually pretty old, relatively speaking. Most of the stars that will ever exist don't exist yet. Most of the stars that were formed in, the first half or so of the age of the universe either no longer exist or would never be able to support life, just because the universe itself is continuing to evolve. The type of stars that we have out in the universe today are not the same types that initially formed after the Big Bang. You had much larger stars, which supernovaed much faster than stars today would, because they were much larger and less stable. And those supernovae created essentially new stars. And this, the type of star that we are orbiting around is one of the ones that came out of a supernova of a larger star. And since it's smaller, it's more stable, will last longer. And just the gravitational aspects of whether or not a habitable planet can orbit a star, ours is much more likely to be able to support that than the stars that existed, in the early stages of the universe. So it's unlikely that, what I'm getting at is it's unlikely, or at least in theory, it's unlikely that any intelligent civilizations would have emerged from the first whatever fraction of the age of the universe. So probably unlikely to emerge from the first third of the age of the universe, which gives us us being a third of the age of the universe in our star. We represent the middle point of the possible time frame that civilizations could emerge. That's one way of looking at it. You could also say that if you look at it in terms of, okay, a civilization couldn't emerge in the first half of the current age of the universe, then we occupy most of, that span of time, our star anyway. Yeah. And then there's a certain amount of time has to pass of your star's age before planets will actually coalesce and cool down and be able to support life. That process took several 100 million years in our solar system. So one of the possible answers is that we're actually just one of the first civilizations to emerge.
That's quite a paradox.
It's an optimistic one.
I'd say. In that maybe I don't know why I'd say that. Why do you think that's optimistic? In the sense that what, like, that's why we haven't seen other intelligent life form, and then maybe we will in the future. What do you mean?
It's optimistic if we expect space warfare to actually happen. So it's optimistic from the perspective of people who think that. I've already stated that I don't think that would happen, but if it were to happen, it's better to be early than to be late, just for technological reasons, having a time advantage.
So let's say the aliens do come and they're like, take me to your leader. Who do you think they take him to?
Oh, God. You.
Yes.
Take him to you.
That's correct.
That's definitely not a president of the United States, whoever it may be.
I almost called him Dr. Biden is his wife. Mr. Biden, President Biden, that guy owes me $2,000. I hate that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He's a war criminal too.
Yeah. They all are. I mean, we haven't had a president who hasn't been a war criminal since longer than I've been alive. Oh, yeah.
Who's your favorite war criminal?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Who do we got? Stalin. Stalin is my favorite war.
I'm really into Gaddafi.
Yeah. I would take Gaddafi over Stalin. You're right.
Nixon? You're into Nixon, Dr. Winowin? We had a question from chat. Back to aliens.
Ironically, Nixon, if you look at present presidents, Nixon was far cry better than what we get these days.
Yeah. Let's make America great again. Am I right?
Let's go back to Nixon.
I hate to circle back. I hate to disappoint conservative Twitter, but we're going to circle back here. A question about aliens. Questions about aliens. Where are they? Are we alone? I'll bring that back up. Are we alone? Have they destroyed themselves? Are they afraid to contact us for some reason? Important questions for us to consider when we consider the paradox, which is Fermi's Paradox. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's probably the one most relevant to our present state. Is one of the answers to the Fermi Paradox is intelligent civilizations tend to destroy themselves by the time they escape their solar system, which we may very well do either through nuclear war, or through climate catastrophe.
All right.
Not to doomer it, but
counterpoint. How intelligent is a civilization willing to destroy itself? Do we need to redefine intelligent civilization?
Well, here's the
See where I'm going with that? Okay, yeah.
When you become intelligent enough to civilize, you start to outpace your species' capacity to continue evolving on its intelligence. So we've been civilized for, depending on who you ask, roughly 7 millennia. If you want to go ancient Egyptians and all that is microscopic on an evolutionary timescale.
Yeah.
So look at how much civilization has developed over the course of 7,000 years. Basically, nothing has happened, evolutionarily speaking, in our species since then. And so, we'll easily be able to, if we're still alive, be able to colonize outside our solar system in another 7,000 years. Way less than that, still microscopic on an evolutionary time scale. So what I'm getting at is the moment you hit that level of required intelligence in order to civilize, you're not going to get much smarter than that by the time you have to be. If that is if that's the general fate that civilizations meet, is that they tend to destroy themselves.
Gosh.
So that's. Yeah, sorry, man.
Well,
not going to make it.
Well, that didn't. Yeah, I'm black-pilled, and that didn't help, Nasai.
Well, like I said, my theory is we have to become socialists, and we may very well become socialists by the time. That'll be. Then we don't need to evolve in terms of our intelligence. If we become socialists, then we can become stable and sustainable. Yeah.
I'd like that. I'd like some socialisms. I'll take 2, please.
Nothing is better to help civilization continue to survive than socialism.
So you're not,
That's my theory,
you don't like capitalism. That's what you're saying.
No, not a fan. It's a pretty bad idea. You probably shouldn't have done it.
It was a really bad idea. Whoever invented it sucks.
Yeah. Bunch of jerks.
Better or worse than feudalism?
Oh, it's better than feudalism, but not by much.
Yeah.
I mean, feudalism, people were dominated through military conscription, essentially, and we swapped that out for economic domination. Still entirely built upon violence. So it's just that violence is abstracted out, and there's a middleman that's been inserted in, whether it's the police or, the state in general. Still violence.
Violence, but yet, like I
mean, the transition from feudalism to capitalism was just a way to basically financialize power.
Yeah.
Rather than it just be divine right of kings, it's how much wealth you have. I mean, for the purposes of being an oppressed class, it's very little distinction to be made. What difference does it make to us whether the people dominating us think that God is telling them to do it, or whether it's just because they have a bunch of, invented concept called money?
Yep. So this brings me to something that I don't know, I'm thinking about, and we can go anywhere with this if we want to stick with space or whatever. But like, okay, if you had to make $1 million and you had $0, what would you do? This is a terrible question.
Me personally, I'd make a video game. I mean, that's what got me into programming in the first place.
Okay. Yeah? You think you'll do that someday? Make a game?
Probably.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, let's start brainstorming. What kind of game you want to make?
I would very much love to go down this brainstorm, but I do have a hard out at the top of the hour, which is in about a minute. But I would gladly come back on and talk about that some other time.
All right, let's do that sometime. Honestly, let's feel free to schedule it in, and I'll put it in the calendar this time. I really do apologize, and I'm going to let you go real quickly here. Thank you, Nasai, for coming in. Thanks for chatting with me. I enjoyed this. We'll have to follow up just so we can make sure we get the full. We feel complete. I want to feel complete. I'm not. You complete me. Yeah.
You complete me.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so Nasai, thank you so much. Thanks for coming by. Peace. Have a good day, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. See you next time. That's it. Boom.
See you later.
That's Nasai. I totally shit the bed.